Welcome, crypto fam, to the number one daily Bitcoin pod. Bitcoin pod, baby. Let's go. Bitcoin's pumping. We just retapped $58,000, which we love to see. Welcome to everyone in that live chat. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. We'll also be discussing some breaking news, as we always do, as well as Bitcoin speculators repeat 2021 de-risking as exposure drops 21,600 BTC. We'll also be discussing, finally, Caroline Ellison asked to seal supporters' info at September 24th. Sentencing, meaning it's coming up here in a few weeks. We'll also be discussing the Bitcoin ETF see 28.6 million worth of inflows after an 8-day outflow streak. We'll also be discussing stablecoin issuer Tether diversifies investments, sinks nearly $115 million into the agro-industrial company. I'll be breaking this down for you, as well as the latest from the Giga Chat himself, Mikey Saylor, predicting Bitcoin will reach $13 million per coin. I'll be sharing his timeline. And by the way, this is his base case. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important, smash the likes for Nipsey, please. And subscribe, hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. It's always greatly appreciated. Today is pod episode 1755. I'm your host, JV. It's September 10th. 2024. Markets are back in the green. I mean, we tapped last stream I did the day before yesterday. We tapped like 52.6, so it feels good to be up 5,000 since then. Currently at 57.8. We did already tap 58,000 right before I went live. I noticed. Let's kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day, pulling up Coin 360. You can see Bitcoin up 1.5% for the day, trading at 57.9 according to Coin 360. We have Toncoin up 5%. That's pretty cool considering all the drama recently with their CEO Pavel being arrested. ETH is up 2%, trading under 2,400. Tron's correcting along with Cardano and Polkadot, while XRP and AVAX and BNB all in the green, but pretty modestly. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits just above 2 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap is at 1.14 trillion dollars. We got roughly 62 billion worth of volume in the past 24 hours. And the Bitcoin dominance and the Ether dominance, Ether's down all the way down to 14.1%, the lowest in years. It looks like we're going to tap the 13s soon. That's not good for ETH. Bitcoin dominance is maintaining, though, so it's all good. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got ICP, and I ain't talking about the insane clown posse. Up 13%. Trading at $8.70, followed by FET up 11%, followed by BSV up 9%. Which alts, if any, are you bullish on for the bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles so we get a visual perspective on the day. Let's see. Let's start on the day and then zoom out on the month. For the day, the majority of the market's in the green, which we love to see. I mean, the other day we were below a 2 trillion market cap. Now we're back above that milestone, which is a good sign. Zooming out on the monthly, I would say 80-20. Actually, let me rephrase. I'd say 70-30 red versus green, but some respectable gainers, of course. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators, hence why we share it every day, shows we're currently at 33 in fear. Yesterday at 26 in fear. Last week at 26, and last month at 39 in fear. The lower this number goes in extreme fear, the more likely of a pump. And checking out the time chain calendar. As you can see, we're currently on block number 860,800. We have 189,200 blocks to go until the next halving. Probably April of 2028. And currently you can get 1,730 Satoshis for $1. A couple of days ago, it was almost 1,900. So get in where you fit in, if you feel what I'm saying. But there you have it, yo. Let's break it down here. The headline here reads, Bitcoin awaits US CPI print as option market sees 3.3%. Bitcoin price move. That's right, yo. Here's the 1 hour chart. In a little bit, I'll pull up the live chart. Bitcoin held firm at the September 10th Wall Street Open as the bulls refused to allow a Bitcoin price come down. TradingView showed Bitcoin retargeting 57, and in fact, we already tapped 58 right before I went live. Risk assets avoided major moves in advance of the U.S. CPI print due September 11th, which is tomorrow on 9/11. This due along with the first presidential debate, that's right, between Trump and Harris this evening at 9 p.m. Let me know if you're going to be watching. Quoting them here, macro uncertainty dominates the crypto markets ahead of the presidential debate, with the 30-day correlation to the MSCI World Equity Index reaching 0.6 near a 2-year high. Trading firm QCP Capital wrote in part of the latest bulletin on Telegram. And massive shout out to Jason Buck. He just did the ultimate kind gesture and gifted 10 people a MicroStrategy membership of the channel. So thank you, Jason Buck, and let's congratulate all the new members. That's very kind of you. Vic Schutz, welcome. You're now a member of the channel. That's a paid membership. Eric Jones, Crypto Rome, My Crypto Space UK, Khalili, Shaitan Patel, Kemp, Xander, Wrench Whisperer, and Saga Alpha Club. Please do thank Jason Buck. He just hooked you up, and that's a very kind thing for you to do, Jay. So thank you, brother. Much, much respect and much appreciated. Welcome all the new members of the stream. What does the membership give you? It ultimately turns your name green, and you get priority shout outs in the live chat. And you also get that loyalty badge, which is the star next to your name, which shows your loyalty to the channel. And every month it's going to change colors. So thank you guys. I greatly appreciate that. Let's continue with the TA here. QCP revealed keen interest in Bitcoin price volatility returning over the coming 24 hours, with the options market implying a movement of more than 3.3% from the current spot 56.8 by tomorrow's expiry post-debate, quoting them here. While Bitcoin is generally seen as the Trump trade due to his vocal support for crypto, we believe the real surprise could come from Harris. If she brings up crypto positively during her campaign, how can she bring it up positively if all of her actions are negative towards it? I mean, don't get it twisted, folks. The sense of anticipation amongst traders was heightened in light of the previous week's performance, where Bitcoin slipped below 53 Gs. I think it was 52.6, the bottom, more recently. And then, of course, a couple of weeks ago, we bottomed at 49. Let me know if you think the bottom is in. Quoting them here, world stocks erased a massive 4.1 trillion market cap last week. Crazy, right? The largest drop in 2 years. That's no joke. And that's according to the Kabisi letter, who shares here. This is twice as much as the previous largest drawdown in 2024. I mean, that's a lot of money being wiped out. Where does it go? 4.1 trillion. That's double the crypto market cap today, family. Just for comparison. Now, while Bitcoin was up almost 4% from the weekly open at the time of this, market participants suggested it was too early for the optimism. In fact, Scoo shared the following: nice one-day close. However, still more confirmations are required for the divergence to play out. They also show the first confirmation would be a reclaim of the previous low of 57,400, which we're already currently above. Now, Scoo also added that the RSI should sustain above 50 to provide additional confirmation of the recovery. And so far, it is the same lackluster follow-up plus the lack of the urgency we have seen after every pump. As Crypto Chase shares here, as said last night, no trade for me at the moment because this market has yet to prove it can provide proper bullish continuation. Show me it, and I'll be more open to them in the future. Meanwhile, I'll break down the ETFs a little later. Let's pull up some of the live charts. Live chart action brought to you by TradingView. Let's switch up the scene so it's so fresh and so clean. Here you go. So yeah, Bitcoin live and in the flesh chart right now. We're trading just above 57,700. Notice a lot of targets here on the 1 hour chart. We do have a bullish pennant breakout. We do have a bullish pennant target just above 60,700. So I'd love to see us break that here today. That'd be pretty lit. See that staircase breakout? Pretty lit right now. We also have a target at 59. And we also have a bottom target, which you need to be aware of, at 54,600. And again, this is the 1 hour chart via TradingView via Coinbase. And checking out the 4 hour, and we'll scale out from here. Again, live chart action. If you're enjoying this, share the stream, hit the likes, subscribe for the Nipponator. But yeah, you can see that big green candle in the past 4 hours, pretty lit, which took us to 58,000. Let's zoom out a little more. Let's check out the 1 day chart. As you can see here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 green consecutive days. Reminds me of Green Day. Do you remember the Dookie album? Anyways, we do have a target, though, that is sitting at 47,700. And let's check out the 1 week we should still have that sexy cup and handle pattern at, I think, 126, was it? 124 right now, 124.7. And we'll check out the 1 month for a little broader perspective here. And as you can see, I mean, earlier in the year, we had 7 green consecutive monthly closes. Then it's kind of been red, green, red, green, red, green, just sideways trading action. Let's see if we can get out of the September bear and turn it into a September bull close, followed by a very bullish fourth quarter. That'll be pretty lit. And I also want to share some of the breaking news I failed to mention earlier. Bitwise chart shows, let me change the scene so it's easier for you guys to see. My bad. Let's see, this should do the trick. Yeah. So just in, Bitwise chart shows Bitcoin historically pumps in price after being down in September. I mean, the charts don't lie. Notice September is negative 4.5%. Then we jump typically in the fourth quarter. October, we usually jump 29.5%. Then check out November, bro. And we also have the election on November 5th. 37.9% average gains. And then we have 12% for December. So if we add all those numbers up, let's do the math. Let's say 30% and 30% is 60%. And then we have 70%. I mean, we're talking ballpark 80% gains in the fourth quarter. So if history is to repeat, game on. And in other breaking news, the Marathon CEO Fred Thiel shared, Bitcoin is a national security concern for the country. The U.S. must maintain a dominance, not just in Bitcoin mining, but also in the holding of Bitcoin assets in U.S. companies. Preach. And also other news, Max Keiser points out in a new interview that Bitcoin will capture 65% plus of all the assets. Now we're only 0.1%. Let that sink in. Really good interview, by the way. I caught some of it. I need to watch the rest of it, but he makes some very bullish predictions. I think one of them I have here. So yeah, quoting Max Keiser from that interview, he said, Bitcoin will immediately go from 85, 90,000, 110,000 per coin, and then immediately go to 300 to 350,000 overnight. Headline here reads, Bitcoin speculators repeat, 2021 de-risking as exposure drops 21.6 thousand BTC. That's right. Bitcoin speculators have net distributed more than 21,000 biddies over the past month in an exit, which rivals records according to the latest data from CryptoQuant. That's right. Let's discuss what they had to share. Bitcoin price performance in the recent weeks led to a collapse in faith amongst new hodler cohorts. According to CryptoQuant, which tracks the 30-day net position change amongst both short-term hodlers and long-term hodlers, the former reduced its holdings by 21,600 Bitcoin over the 30 days through September 8th. Quoting them here, the last 2 weeks show a significant decline in short-term hodler net positions, indicating short-term investors are selling their holdings in response to the recent market volatility. IT Tech named the net position decrease as one of the several key trends currently in play among short-term hodlers, the name given to entities holding a given amount of Bitcoin for 155 days or less. Otherwise, they said they're exiting the market. And risk reduction. The data stands out as a rare episode of the history of the short-term hodlers monitoring. Such a large 30-day decrease has not occurred since mid-2021. Whoa. Now remember, it was November of 2021 we hit the all-time high of 69 Gs from the previous cycle. Now, for the long-term hodlers, the picture is decidedly different. Accumulation is in full swing, with the cohort 30-day net position increase totaling 22,000 BTC. This roughly equals the short-term hodler position drawdown and is also the largest increase in several years. Quoting them here, increased accumulation by long-term hodler could lead to price stabilization and position the market for a potential rebound, while the short-term hodler sell-offs may create short-term downwards pressure on the prices. And they concluded the data shows a clear capital flow from the weak hands to the strong hands. Shout out to my diamond hands laser eyes. Where you at? Which signals a market stability. Now, in other reports, they showed changing dynamics between Bitcoin hodler cohorts. The short-term hodler entities aggregate cost basis, for example, regularly functions as the long-term support during the bull market. And recently, that trend line, which currently sits at around 64 Gs, has been unreliable and reflects significant unrealized losses persistent amongst the short-term hodlers, which are now just under 18% of the available Bitcoin supply. So there you go, yo. And yeah. Let me know if you're a long-term hodler. I've been asking, whatever happened to Caroline Ellison? She's supposed to have been sentenced Earlier on in the year, nothing's happened. It went under the radar, swept under the rug. Well, I finally saw her in a headline since earlier this year, and it says, Caroline Ellison asked to seal supporters' info at September 24 sentencing. So allegedly, in 2 weeks, she's going to be sentenced for her crimes. Let's break down the latest story here. As you know, she's the one with the, what did they refer to that as? The Slippy Grippy from Mississippi. Bankman-Fried's lady. And also she was the head of, the sister company, Alameda Research. So here we go. A court filing from former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison's attorney seeks to redact the names and personal info of the parties writing letters to support her sentencing hearing, which is scheduled in 2 weeks. In the September 9th filing with the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, Wilmer Hale, partner Anjan, representing Ellison, filed a motion requesting that the court redact personally identifying information from the former Alameda CEO supporters. And according to the filing, I'd be interested to see who her supporters were. The letters could contain info, Gary Gensler, about Ellison's current living situation that could put her at risk of continued harassment if made public. I mean, it's a given. She's going to be harassed. I mean, you're responsible alongside Bankman-Fried for the biggest Ponzi scheme in human history. Since her testimony at the criminal trial, the former FTX CEO Bankman-Fried, October 2023, Ellison has rarely, if ever, been seen in public. Yeah, I did see photos leaked, though. She was seen at a coffee shop in New York. Or required to appear in person in court to address the matters related to the case. She pleaded guilty to fraud charges in 2022 after FTX collapsed and had been awaiting sentencing. The September 9th filing appeared to be the first public reference to Ellison's hearing. So my question for you, we know Bankman-Fried got 25-year sentence in prison. I personally think he'll be pardoned by the Biden administration, considering he was the second largest donor to the Democratic Party. But what do I know? What do you think Caroline Ellison's sentence will be? Let me know. As the court is aware, Miss Ellison has been the focus of the intense media scrutiny and internet fascination since the outset of this case, including from Bankman-Fried's repeated efforts to release Miss Ellison's private info to the media. Because Miss Ellison's friends should not be subject to harassment and doxing because they have written to the court, Miss Ellison seeks to leave to redact their names and other identifying info from the publicly filed version of the letters in her sentencing memorandum. And according to her lawyer, the former Alameda CEO plans to include medical info for the court to consider as part of her sentencing recommendation, in addition to information on where she resides, her partner, and the organizations with which she volunteers. Ellison's legal team seeks to have all the information on potential medical treatments redacted. I mean, what kind of medical treatments do you think we're talking about here? Interesting. But yeah, will she go to prison? Should the sentencing hearing move forward on September 24th, Ellison could be the third defendant in the criminal case involving FTX and Alameda to face prison time. In March, Judge Kaplan sentenced Bankman-Fried to 25 years in prison, as we know, after the 2023 trial. His lawyers have filed a notice to appeal. Former FTX Digital Markets CEO Ryan Salami is expected to report to prison October 13th for a 90-month sentence, handed down in May. However, his legal team will address a petition to vacate his guilty plea in a September 12th hearing, in 2 days, as part of the prosecutor's case against his partner. So he ultimately said, I'm willing to testify. And then he said, as long as they don't go after my significant other, her friend or his business partner, Michelle Bond. And then they allegedly said, sure, we're not going to go after her. Then they lied. And then they said, now we're going after her and you're testifying. And he's like, whoa, now I don't want to testify. I don't care. You lied. I don't think the court cares. Now, in December of 2022, Ellison pleaded guilty to 7 counts of wire fraud, commodities fraud, securities fraud, money laundering related to the misuse of fund. And how did Gary Gensler not catch that as the chairman of the SEC? That's a lot of fraud going on with FTX. I mean, he had a lot of meetings behind closed doors with Bankman scamming banker himself. So things that make you go, But anyways, the former FTX engineer and director, Nishad, and also the co-founder, Gary Wang, also pleaded guilty to the criminal charges and scheduled to appear for sentence hearings on October 30th and November 20th. Wang could be the last defendant to appear in the court. My other question becomes, where'd Sam, what was his name, Trabucco or something like that? The guy who was seen on the yachts with the big belly. How'd he get away with all this? He was involved. He was an executive. He just disappeared. And Very interesting, all this stuff. I find it interesting. Let's get to 80,000 first. Send it, Rob. Well, let's get there. We have a lot more to share, so let's continue. Let's discuss the latest inflows, outflows with the Bitcoin ETFs. Headline reads, Bitcoin ETFs see 28.6 million of inflows after 8-day outflow streak. That's right. US-based spot Bitcoin ETFs saw 28.6 million on September 9th of inflows, breaking 8 consecutive days of outflows. About time. IBIT, which is BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, saw its third ever day of net outflows at 9 million, the smallest on record, next to its biggest single day of outflows at almost 37 million, which was May 1st, and 13.5 million August 29th, according to Farside data. The Fidelity-Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, FBTZ, and that's like the funniest kicker name, by the way, saw the largest inflows on the day at 28.6 million, while the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and ARK21 tailed respective inflows of 22 mil and 6.8 million. The Invesco Galaxy Bitcoin ETF also recorded an inflow of 3.1 million. It's just good to see us back in the green collectively. Roughly 1.2 billion left to spot Bitcoin ETFs in the trading days between August 27th and September 6th, before the 8-day outflow streak broke September 9th. It followed a 5% Bitcoin rally to a high of 57.6 September 9th, which was yesterday, before cooling to 56.6. And again, we captured 58 already here this morning on the 10th. BlackRock continues to lead all the spot Bitcoin ETF issuers with 20.9 billion in total net inflows. And they didn't go live till January of this year on the 11th. And they achieved ultimately more Bitcoin in a few months than MicroStrategy achieved in 4 years. Let that sink in. While Fidelity and ARK21 round out the top three of 9.4 billion and 2.2 billion. Now, the total net inflows across all the current amount to 16.9 billion, which includes over 20 billion of outflows. Damn. So Grayscale had 20 billion of outflows. Meanwhile, BlackRock had 20 billion of inflows. So they're trading places ultimately. Now, Ethereum ETFs are still in the red. Things are not looking good for Ethereum, yo. I never seen the market dominance of Ether drop this low. We're about to hit in the 13% range, which is pretty wild. The US base spot Ether ETF saw 5 million in outflows September 9th, marking their 7th trading day without an inflow. Similar to the spot Bitcoin ETFs, BlackRock and Fidelity's Ether products led the pack with respective inflows 1 billion and 405 million. Bitwise's fund came in third with 315 million, while the Grayscale Ethereum Trust has seen 2.69 billion of outflows. I mean, Grayscale, all they do is outflows nowadays. It's kind of wild. Whatever really is happening behind closed doors, who knows? Let's discuss what's happening right now with Tether, with their $115 million diversification investment. Interesting article I found. And then we'll discuss the latest Michael Saylor predictions, ultimately predicting Bitcoin hitting $13 million. And then we'll dive into our live Q&A and go from there. So yeah, this headline reads, stablecoin issuer Tether diversifies investments, sinks nearly 115 milli in agro-industrial company. Tether, leading stablecoin issuer, invested more than 112 million into this company that started in Argentina. Documents filed with the US SEC last month indicated Tether subsidiary holds 10 million common shares in Ada Coargo, a company with agricultural and energy production operations in Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. So South America, please stand up. Now, their shares are trading at $11.21 at this time, and Tether's stake represents almost 10% of the company. That's not too shabby. The stablecoin issuer subsidiary Tether Investments Limited has been sinking money into emerging tech, such as artificial intelligence and peer-to-peer platforms, sustainable Bitcoin mining operations, and digital education initiatives, according to the SEC filing. Now, their first interaction with the digital asset space was back in 2021. The firm itself invested in AgroToken, a blockchain startup focused on tokenizing the field of production. Ada Coargo manages 561,000 hectares, if I'm pronouncing that right, family, of land, reports that it has produced 838 tons of crops and rice. The firm says it facilitated 1.4 billion worth of sales. Tether recorded a record-breaking $5.2 billion worth of net profit. Damn. In the first quarter of the year. They're killing it right now. According to the firm's Q2 quarterly report, the firm issues USDT, which aims to maintain the one-on-one peg with the US dollar, which we know is the largest stablecoin, which also had the first mover's advantage and the one we trust the most, with a market cap of more than $118 billion. And not only that, but they're true believers in Bitcoin, as they have a lot of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. They're mining large amounts of Bitcoin. They're purchasing mass amounts of Bitcoin. They're holding on to mass amounts of Bitcoin. You got to respect that. So shout out Tether and to the USDT fam. Now for our feature story of the day, fam. Michael Saylor predicts Bitcoin will reach $13 million per coin. He gives a timestamp on the year he believes it's going to happen. He was just recently interviewed, and here's the latest from him. So let's break this baby down. And welcome everyone just joining us here today on the stream. You can see in the headline, Michael Saylor predicts Bitcoin will reach 13 million per coin. 21 years. Obviously not going to happen overnight, right? And another headline. Michael Saylor predicts same headline, but let's just get into the story then. MicroStrategy Executive Chairman Mikey Saylor predicted on Monday Bitcoin will reach 13 million over the next 2 decades. Let me know if you agree or disagree. The billionaire explained why the leading digital asset's recent volatility hasn't frightened his company, MicroStrategy, and the advantages for investors to buy MSTR instead. In fact, just got to keep it 100. MicroStrategy has been outpacing Bitcoin this year, and I think it has been for a while. There's obviously pros and cons. You know, obviously, I'm all in on Bitcoin. I'm not a stock investor. I don't think I've ever purchased any stock, but there are some advantages. So, you know, I mean, it's because Michael Saylor knows what he's doing, really. During an interview with CNBC, Saylor forecasted that Bitcoin retain its 44% compound annual growth rate in the short term. That's not too shabby. 44% compound annual growth rate before the growth steadily declines by roughly 5% per year as the asset matures. Quoting Michael Saylor from the recent interview yesterday, my long-term forecast is it's going to 13 million over 21 years. So let's run the math. If we're in 2024, that would mean 2024, 34, 55. So by the year 2055, he's projecting Bitcoin smashing 13 million. At some point, it'll be the S&P return plus 8%, and it'll be the S&P volume plus 8%. Shout out to the employee of the month here. I mean, Max Keiser called it. Employee of the month, Saylor. We've beat every other company in the S&P index using the Bitcoin strategy. Facts. #1 stock right there, yo. Saylor initially put forward a similar price forecast during his speech at the Bitcoin 2024 Nashville conference. Let me know if you had a chance to watch it. I believe that was his base case as shared here. While 13 million was his base case, his bear case was 3 million, in line with the Van Eck prediction. And his bull case was a whopping 49 million. Now we're talking almost 1,000x higher than today. Send it. In the meantime, Saylor expects continued Bitcoin volatility, largely because it is a globally traded 24 asset that is highly liquid, quoting the Giga Chad. If you are worried about a missile strike, you can't teleport your $10 million apartment to Singapore. Lever it up to 10-1 and short $100 million worth of New York real estate, he explained. But you can short $100 million worth of Bitcoin by borrowing 10 million. And regarding MicroStrategy, Saylor argued the company has pioneered the Bitcoin-backed bond market by issuing billions of dollars in convertible bonds to buy Bitcoin. That's right. We call it the Mikey Saylor put. And as an investment, he says MSTR is like a tax-deferred Bitcoin yield instrument, effectively letting users borrow money to buy Bitcoin at rates they could not access as an individual since adopting a Bitcoin reserve strategy in 2020. And since then, we have other publicly traded companies like Metaplanet out of Japan, which is following in the same footsteps of MicroStrategy. And I think many other companies are likely to do the same because it's such a brilliant strategy, especially for companies that have access to a lot of liquidity, such as MSTR. Now, not surprised, but Peter Schiff disapproves of Michael Saylor's prediction. Shocking, right? Bitcoin critic Mr. Shifty called out Saylor for boasting about the gains of both Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, calling his ideas a bunch of nonsense. How dare you, Peter Shifty? I mean, give the man a little credit. MSTR is down 40% from his 52-week high and 6% below 2021 high. The actual returns are not nearly as rosy as you describe and will soon get worse, according to Peter Shifty. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts with the latest from Michael Saylor. Can you see a $13 million base case? Again, that's not his bull prediction. base case, meaning what he believes will most likely turn into fruition. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm going to read the comments. Welcome to the Q&A segment of the live stream. We got over 1,600 people here. Much appreciated. I like the volatility when it's up. I like volatility in general. It's life force. Alts can be good for the traders. Bitcoin is only the safe place to store the value for the long term, says Dankness. Eventually, we'll get the good alts and we'll have the integral uses of the market. Be safe and understand this. Right on. I started buying Solana at $18 after watching Raoul Pal. Right on. Doesn't matter whether it's Trump or Canola. Oh, is that the new nickname? Canola? Bitcoin is going over. I like that because I don't have to use her real name. Bitcoin going over 150,000. Send it on behalf of Canola. Peter Shifty. Classic. Well, he's very shifty. Low down, greedy, and grimy. Peter Shifty doesn't even own a physical gold. It's all paper. Yeah, I heard him say in an interview the majority of his gold was in foreign gold stocks. He's not even supporting the American economy. Come on, Shifty. It's very shifty. It's very sus, as my little one would say.